Hi guys, and welcome back to MedMas. Welcome to day 11. So crazy that we're almost halfway there already. The question today is on the same sort of topic as before. It's NHS hot topics and understanding the role of medicine in society. And the question today is about private healthcare. It's a very, very hot, debatable topic. And the question is, what are the arguments for and against people paying for their own healthcare as and when they need it? So pause the video, jot down some ideas, think about what would be the positives and the negatives of both, and then let's regroup in a couple of seconds. Okay, so again, let's start with the purpose of this question. The purpose of this question, in my opinion, is for the interviewer to see if you can weigh up advantages for both sides. Even if you are very, very adamant that healthcare should always be public, can you see and understand the positives of having a private healthcare system? Or the other way around as well, if you're really, really adamant that private healthcare is the best, can you see the advantages of having a public healthcare system? As well, I'm pretty sure that this question is also wanting you to address at some point that you are aware that the NHS is a public healthcare system. That's, I think, quite important. And then maybe at the end being like, what would be the ideal system for you? That could like bring the question a bit somewhere else, and it could add an interesting spin to it. So let's start with answering the question. First of all, I would start off by saying no healthcare system in the world is perfect. The United States are criticized for their private healthcare system that increases inequalities and makes healthcare really, really expensive and not to the reach of most people. But the NHS, which is a public healthcare system, this is a healthcare system in the UK, is also very criticized by long waits and having a standard of care that sometimes is not as good as if you were in the private healthcare system. Hence why some people are moving to private when they do have the money and the means to do so. But with that said, I think it is important to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of both. So let's do that. So then you would move on to talking about, let's say, the advantages of paying for your own healthcare. And the advantages that I wrote down here was, I kind of looked at it kind of ethically, you know how the 4 ethical pillars, we're going to talk about this in the next questions that are ethic based, but how it's like beneficence, non-maleficence, autonomy, and justice. These are the 4 pillars. And so the positives aspects of having a private healthcare system or people paying for their own healthcare is that it increases autonomy. Patients will have the option and the choice to decide which doctor they want to go to decide, if they really vibe or if they really get along quite well with a doctor. They can decide to go to that doctor because they know that this doctor understands them quite well and they'll be able to get the most out of the consultation. And so the patient can really choose what they want. They can choose the clinic they go to, they can choose a lot of different things, and it increases their autonomy. It increases their options of choices, okay? And another thing that you could say about that is that it also makes the healthcare in the healthcare system a bit better. By making the healthcare system private, you are in kind of a way making the healthcare system a company and making all of the different private healthcare clinics or hospitals in competition with one another. So every single one of them wants obviously to make the most profit, but wants to have the most clients. And to have most clients, you have to increase your client satisfaction rates and make sure that you are doing all of the little things that the patients want to. And in the end, by increasing competition between all of the different healthcare providers, you are in a way increasing the quality of care, because all of these different healthcare providers want to be the best, want to have the most profit, the most patient satisfaction, the most patients seen, and so they're always trying to get better. So if clinic A does something that makes them really, really competitive, clinic B will try to get to clinic A's level, and then maybe they'll do something, and then, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like sort of competition, a healthy competition that makes quality of care better, that you don't really see in public healthcare as much. However, there are really, really big drawbacks for people paying their own healthcare. There's a lot of negative aspects to it. For instance, the biggest one, the one that you can talk about the most, is that it increases inequalities tremendously. It means that people that have less money will have less healthcare, less good quality, or no healthcare at all. And that is unfair. Every single person has a body. Every single person, it has the right to be treated if they're feeling unwell. And if you have a system where it's private, it means that some people inevitably will not be treated. Whereas in the NHS, in France, in places where there are public healthcare system, every single person has the right to healthcare. Nobody's paying for it. I mean, taxpayers are, but you know what I mean. No, you have it for free, and that is extremely important to do that. And in that aspect, that doesn't really respect the ethical pillars of justice nor non-maleficence, because some people will not be treated and therefore will die because of that. That would be how I would answer it. I think you would have to find flesh out like the positives and the negatives out a little bit more. But the way I would finish it would be like, again, there's no healthcare system that's the best. However, if I would take the current healthcare system that we're seeing right now in this country, the NHS, I would say that it is really important to keep it as public as possible, but maybe subsidize certain aspects of it. So people, depending on how much you earn, you would have to pay, let's say, £5 if you're in a certain bracket, and it goes down to being completely free depending on which tax bracket you're in. And that would make sure that people understand that healthcare is not because you're not paying for it, that it's not costing a lot to the government. And it would make sometimes people maybe think a little bit more about, do I really need to go to the doctor because my toe is itching? Things like that, to really make the patient think a little bit more, is this really necessary, or can I maybe wait 2 or 3 extra days, and if it's gone I won't go? Things like that. So then I would so that's just me saying that I might end the question saying like, the current healthcare system we have is public. And how I would try to make it a little bit better is by implementing a bit of ideas of having to pay a little bit for it. Nothing tremendous, nothing out of order, and subsidizing it based on, there's a little bird outside the window, sorry. And like subsidizing it based on the tax bracket. So some people, the people that earn the least and that don't have a job and that are, in really lower socioeconomic backgrounds will not have to pay for anything. It will stay the same for them. But they can still get an idea that healthcare is worth something. Healthcare is not just free because it's free all the time. Getting people to really understand that it costs a lot of money to the government and not wasting those resources unnecessarily. So that would be how I would end the question. I hope that this question made sense. If you have any other thoughts, any other comments on this question, please leave them down below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 12. And I really hope that you have a really amazing day. Bye guys!